the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Larry Fiddler.
Here.
Greg J.
Here.
Gary Bennington.
Here.
Cindy Holland. Here. Rick Earl.
Here. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
You need to delete 8E.
I also need to add Brad, because we're talking about road salt.
What was that?
Brad Folk, add Brad Folk, to talk about road salt.
And we're gonna wanna add Mayhew contracting for the ADA work over in Lafayette.
Okay, do I have approval of the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
And second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes from October 13th, 2020, the regular meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. October 29th, 2020, special meeting. Do I have approval for those minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. October 29th, 2020, executive session, minutes. Do I have approval?
Yes, I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Gary, I believe. All in favor? Aye. Claims and transfers.
From the general, the claims and transfers this, for the month of October was $98,645.86.
And do I have a motion to approve the general?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
From water, $98,222.95.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wastewater.
$110,517.82.
Do I have approval? Motion?
I'll motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Payroll?
Payroll was $44,057.12.
Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Marshal?
Well, the town marshal couldn't be here, so you got me tonight. Same flyer we give out every month. You can see we've had another busy month. 23 arrests this month. Our reserves, I can't say enough about them. They put in 307 hours this month. We had a chili fest on, October, the last of October. Mr. Patton and Ms. Pelham, generously put it together for us. With all the proceeds coming to the police department. They done a fabulous job. I'd like for them to know that we are very appreciative of it. A lot of things are gonna happen with that, and it'll be posted as to what we're doing with it. I think the back page of the flyer that was put out has some budgeting for the department in it. And that's about all I have.
And what you raised in that day was 5220, is that right?
Yeah, we got another 150, I just haven't been in the bank to do it for you.
Okay. So it's well over 5,000.
Yeah, that was the goal, we didn't know if we'd make it, but we did.
And are you gonna do this next year?
Well, what does the town want?
I don't think that. Can we give them an applause? Thank you.
Larry, I think that you guys could, we just kind of brainstormed this to begin with, because we found out how low the budget for the police where it was. And, if this would continue, I would like to see it enlarged to all first responders. We only spent 3 weeks putting this together, and if a board was put together and more effort put around with a good organization, I think there could be probably 4 times that, or maybe even maybe $30,000, $20,000 to $30,000 gathered to alleviate a little bit of pressure off the town and off the fire department and the police department. I'm thinking the fire department, the police department, and as first responders. That's what I'm feeling. I would like to see the town continue it. Obviously, her and I have very busy schedules. We can put some input in, but we can't carry the load of it. And but we can sure. Tammy's had a lot of experience putting together events, and so have I. And so we can give a lot of good guidance. And I believe you guys can do something good with this. I would change the date. I would put it in September, better weather, more guaranteed weather. But I think you guys could really do a good thing here. It would alleviate some pain.
Okay, thank you.
Larry,
Yes, sir.
I'm kind of curious as to who paid for the goods and stuff to get the chili. Did you guys just chip in and do it?
Her and I hosted it, that's all we'll say.
Okay.
Her and I hosted the thing, and yes, we did pay for, we wanted to make sure that every dollar that came in wasn't a donated dollar. We wanted to make sure every dollar that came in wasn't spent on buying chili and buying this. We wanted to make sure, her and I discussed it ahead of time. She runs a real estate brokerage firm that represents my company. And we just want to make sure every dollar went right straight to the police. We didn't want to confuse things and muddy the waters at all. We wanted it straightforward.
Good.
Yeah, if you get a sponsor, like I start with a budget for this town, 2,000 people, so, I went with $2,000 as a budget. And I came $2,033, but then.
No, you didn't.
Well, I had,
Closer to 25.
well, I had personal donations on the side, but for a event, that's what I always budget. And then there's always extra things that you won't use, so you return. So I would say the entire thing, about $1,750, about what it cost to put on, and that's
Okay.
renting porta potties, and of course we had to buy extra things because of COVID, and
I'm
we
sure.
didn't even use half of it, so it's like we sent some of it back, but that helped anyway. But as far as the budget, putting it together was great. If there would have been a little more time to put it together, we could have had double the vendors, but then I was also trying to keep it down, so when you cancel, if they made it too big, they would've canceled us. So, if you don't have COVID in the way, we've got a good opportunity to actually have a true town festival that can continue. And, you know, pick a theme, watermelon, I don't know, whatever you want. And then choose a sponsor every year that, or the business around town that might wanna do it, you know, like maybe start with the budget. And, they can have all the advertising that they want. I didn't have time to do any of that for my company, cause I just, with the election and everything, my business has bogged me down I was fighting hour to 30 minutes at a time to get time. And I didn't see that coming, but I also didn't see this election going the way it did. And the buyers that came in at me it was like spaghetti. It was amazing that we did what we did in the little time we had. So what you could do is, like, I always took 8 months to plan one. But you don't have to take 8 months, but it would take about 5 people to sit down and put some things together and have a little more responsibility for each department to put something together. And then, you know, you find your volunteers, you help, but, you know, you make it work for itself.
I will say this, y'all need to be very proud of the businesses around Cloverdale. I kinda took it on myself to go get donations from businesses. I really only got to go to maybe 13, 14 businesses. Only had one business turn me down on a donation. All of them were very anxious. Some of them gave good donations. I mean, most of the main businesses gave $200, $250. We had one business, George's Tire up here, gave $500. The businesses in this town would get behind you guys. I can tell you that. They would get behind you guys. You could work with the Small Business Association here locally. I don't know, do you have a list of all the businesses within, say, 5 miles of Cloverdale? In-house and in town?
Pretty much, I think, Main Street members.
I'm telling you, if I could've went to all the businesses, I'm talking within 5 to 10 miles of Cloverdale, mom and pop businesses. We could have gotten a lot more than what we got just on donations from the businesses.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and that was a big chunk of what you guys got. And really, for what I would have loved to have planned, I could only do about 1/4 of it, because we would have been turned down if I would have got too far into making it too big. But
Right.
it could be something that you guys could be proud of every year. Make it, you know, historic or whatever you want to make it.
There's a lot of alumni type people around Cloverdale that have a lot of contacts that could bring in a lot of resources. Just to be quite frank with you, it just takes the right people to put that together. It's like DNR staff. Next year we can get the wood bus from the Indiana Hardwood Lumbermen's Association. I'm sure you can get the DNR here with like Birds of Prey and stuff like that. And, you know, just a lot of things, FHA, a lot of different things could be incorporated.
I would have loved to have been able to do it with the homecoming festival. You guys do a homecoming parade still, right? You guys quit that.
Yeah, no, the school has been doing it.
It would be nice.
I think it was canceled this year.
Yeah, I mean, if we didn't have COVID but I don't know what time of year you do your homecoming, but.
It's usually probably September.
That would be a great festival day. It would be really nice to pull in high school kids to do some things, you know, all these clubs that, you know, cause they don't do it, it all goes to the wayside anymore, so it's,
Now, her and I are probably gonna be pretty wrapped up next September on some things. We'll help all we can. But, we're putting together a state forestry show. They've decided to move it to the Marion County Fairgrounds, and we're involved with putting that together.
unfortunately in September.
It's September 23rd,
And I'd love to trade, I mean,
Yeah.
could.
believe me.
But I mean, like I said, you just sat down with enough, you know, people interested. I had one lady that did message me, she's definitely interested in helping you guys. But it's just all in, it has to make sense You know, it's like example, you could serve hot dogs, but guess what? Hot dogs don't pay for themselves. You don't make any profit.
And you don't have to have, you wouldn't have to have your food vendor in-house. You could, have the different you could do barbecue
It's actually
things.
wiser to do that,
You
cause
could
it's less
outsource all of
responsibility.
that, let them take those headaches.
Get a permit, you know, and they get a permit, they give it to you, and then you can help the permit, but, it just depends on what, you know, you can always, like I said, name a theme to it. You wanna make a watermelon festival, we make a watermelon festival. Well, not so.
Okay. Well, we will be, looking for volunteers then.
We'll help, we'll step forward and help organize
Right.
and get everything going the right direction.
Sure.
As the year goes on, in 2021, we'll probably gonna be very wrapped up on this other item that we're gonna be working on.
Okay. Thank you very much. Fire chief? Clerk treasurer?
I just wanna start by saying that today, online bill pay has gone live. So we now have options in the town of Cloverdale. You can access that through our website. That's the only way to get to our online bill pay is through our website, cloverdalein.com. Once you go there, there's tabs at the top. At the far right, there's a tab that says online bill pay. Click on that. It takes you to a green button that says pay here. And it'll direct you to a site with our town seal and all your options to pay. You can sign up for paperless if you don't want paper bills anymore. You can do text reminders. You can do email reminders. You have a lot of options now. Also, we have a 24/7 pay by phone number, so you can call and pay your bill over the phone even when our office is closed. And so that number is 844-956-1382. So a lot of different options for our town now. All right. Now for the council, I have a resolution 2020-6 that I'd like to present. And this is regarding the snow plow that you all agreed to purchase for the town. We need a resolution passed to transfer the funds. We needed a new line item for capital assets, which we did not have. So it's all in within the local road and street fund, but it's just making a separate line item to pay for that says it's our asset now.
Okay, is this just an introduction or can we pass this today?
I don't know the rules, but I'm ready to pass it. I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
So we can pay for it, I have the bill.
Yes.
I think we just need to approve it.
Do I have a motion to approve this?
I'll motion we approve it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
And then I have a second resolution, and I introduced this to you at the last meeting, but I have since made some changes. The resolution that I introduced to you last meeting had a $75,000 reduction in the general fund, and I have taken that away due to the CARES Act, which I'm going to discuss in a minute. But I have included a reduction of the rainy day fund of $100,000. That's the difference in what I introduced last time to this time. The whole point is, it's no longer, we're not going to spend this money. We don't need to spend this money, and this will help us with the budget that we just submitted to the state for 2021. It will help in the approval of that by the state, and also it'll help us in the coming years because they'll look at this and say, oh, well, they didn't spend that money, they have it to spend next year. So that's what this is.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve this? Resolution 2020-7? Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye.
Alright, and then the CARES Act, I just wanted to update you on that, and let you know that the IFA loosened their requirements to be able to request the money. So we were able to request, and we received all of the money that was allotted to the town of Cloverdale. So we've already received that, and it is in our general fund. So, there is no rush to spend that money. However, I think this is a special circumstance, and I would petition the council, to use some of this money for things that the town needs, because in effect, this is money we weren't planning on receiving. And so I think this is a good time to use that money for some things that we need, or some special items that are gonna help our budget out in the, in the future. Some of these, and you'll see a lot of these are on the agenda we've already talked about, but the four main things that I would like to present to you is the sound system. I believe that's something that we definitely need, so the people can hear, in the meetings. Tablets for the council members, that will save so much time and money and paper and printing and organizing. I think that's just a benefit, and it helps for storage. It's such a waste to have all that paper every meeting. I'm gonna plug for the wall removal, cause I think that's something that will, definitely help open up the office and make things more friendly, more business-like, to be able to run the office that way. And the police overtime pay, I think that's a good way to use that money to address the issue that we run into with the police. That's not budgeted in the normal budget. So, that's just for your information, but we do have the money, and it's in our bank account, so we don't have to rush. We can take our time and decide what we're gonna do with it.
There's an awful lot of paper that we go through each meeting, right?
Yes.
So on the tablets, let's say, we'll have to do an e-sign, won't we? I mean, it's possible to do electronic signature.
I think we could do a one master paper copy
Yeah.
per file.
For the things that need signed, I will have one copy here that everyone will sign, and I will keep.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
no, those definitely need a paper copy of this stuff.
Okay, anything else? Planning, BZA?
Neither one had meetings.
Park Board? Okay, new business. We have an employee we'd like to recognize tonight. And that employee, if he doesn't know himself, Richard, would you stand up, please? Richard was chosen, how do I want to say that? Water Treatment Manager of the Year last year.
Yes.
And it just finally made publication. And it was published in treatment plant operations.
Yeah, in a magazine, yes.
But Richard has several pictures and a nice write-up.
Thank you.
And if we could give Richard an applause. Kelly, do you have anything else for Richard?
The title of the article is A Treasure to This Town, and I think that's so true. Richard goes above and beyond, just out of his way to help people and to make things right, and to really, he just really considers other people's needs above himself. And he is a treasure to this town, and we're really lucky to have him.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
I guess we put you back on the, I think you're gonna talk about the standpipe, aren't you?
You have the
Clean.
quotes?
Do we have two quotes now?
Yes, you have 2 quotes in your packet for the standpipe.
Yeah, I'd already seen those.
I think it's Klaus, is, cheaper than the other fellow, and I would prefer him anyway. He's a kind of a private guy and does a lot of local towers around.
And that's the one for 20,000 to inspect it,
Yeah.
and they're gonna go down in the tower.
He's got like a robot camera that he'll send down in, and that's the same as the other company has.
Okay.
That preferred tank is the one that inspected it last year for $1,000, but they weren't able to put the camera in because of the cold weather. So we had this inspection last year, but not internal, and idea would rather we got the power works to the outside, so that's the majority of that.
Now, does that include repainting also, or just?
No painting,
Just washing?
See what it looks like after that, and he'll have some touch-up stuff to do.
that tank was drained a few years ago and redone inside. When was that done, do you remember?
2010,
2010, okay, that's,
and then back in 11 again for a year inspection.
yeah.
But
They
the
drained,
painting-
they drained it, reclaimed
The
it.
painting
made it
was in 10,
inside.
they painted the whole thing in 10.
Okay,
And it is recommended that this be done every 10 years, is that
Yeah.
correct?
Is that the one up the interstate, if that's the one you're talking about?
Yep, find the Holiday Inn.
I helped build it.
Yep.
Long time ago.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve, the quote for $20,000 on the standpipe?
Yeah, I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And Heather Tribbett. Okay, is there anything that you have on that?
Well, she had dispute about her water bill, so I don't know.
Is that the one we approved last month? Is that the same gal that was here last
No,
month?
this is different.
Oh, okay, okay.
She said she called in a spring and talked to Cheryl, and that Cheryl, had told her she would shut off her water. But we received a phone call from this girl. What's this date? In August, and that's our work order, we have record that she has to have her water shut off, and she was disputing the fact that she had to pay the bill for May, June, July, and August.
But she owed those bills.
Yes. Yes, we didn't, and she didn't call the office and ask us to turn it off until September, that's when our record was.
Okay. Seems like we don't have anything to do with that. Okay, the, Putnam County Visitors Bureau representative, is Laura Hatton here?
I don't think she is, we appoint two representatives every year to the Putnam County Visitors Bureau. They're appointed for 2-year terms, so it's one person every year. Laura Hatton is currently one of our representatives, and she's up for, her position is up this year. I've spoken with the president of Putnam County Visitors Bureau and also Laura, and they both are, happy to continue. You know, Laura would be happy to continue serving, and they're very pleased with, the work that she does down there. So I was just bringing that before the council. We have till the end of the year to appoint her. So, you know, if you so choose to reappoint her, you can. If there's somebody else that you would rather have, we can do that too. But I'm just bringing that to your attention that it has to be done by the end of the year.
who were the other two? What was that told them?
Mark Wingler is the other representative for the town. So we have two, Laura and Mark.
Mark's just not up yet, but,
Yes, he still has 1 year in his service left.
okay. Do we wanna go ahead and appoint Laura at this time?
Yeah,
I would motion.
you said she did want
Yes,
to,
she
yeah,
said
yeah.
yes.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're ready for old business.
Skipped over town attorney.
I'm sorry. What's that?
Skipped over town attorney.
We're not, that was where.
They deleted that. We removed
That was
that.
removed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I missed Brad.
Alrighty, I think we've talked briefly, I think me and you have, but we have, salt we've been paying for storage. And it's coming close to December, and that's whenever they start charging more for storage. So, I believe it was 7,000 for 80 tons, and that's what we're contracted to get is 80 tons. And I'm just looking for the approval on that 80 ton to go ahead and pay for the 7,000. And then, on top of that, we're also contracted for next year. and we can get it as early as June, and then we wouldn't be paying for the storage. So, I mean, we can wait till June for that next 70,000, but I wanna kinda slip the bug in your ear as far as letting you guys know and kinda trying to stay ahead of the extra expenses. Yes, Gary?
Do we have any on hand?
I'd say we probably have 40 to 60 ton. We're contracted, we basically have a will call for 100 ton, and we have to receive 80% of what we will call for. So if we don't pay for the 80 ton, being we're under contract, then we have to pay for storage at $15 a ton per month. So, I mean, the storage fee definitely racks up. But, as far as me and Kelly could tell, next year is the last year as far as the contract on this.
Where's that 80 ton now?
It's being stored by, is it Cargill, is that?
I believe it was Cargill. But yeah, they've been storing it for us, we will call on it at the end of last year. And it's kind of one of the things we weren't aware of it until recently. But, yes, the storage fee kind of goes up the longer they have it, and that's definitely something that we have space down there, we could put it in. I mean, the only thing I might have to do is get a bigger tarp, but a bigger tarp compared to $15 a ton on 80 to 100 tons, that's, I mean, I feel like the tarp might be a better deal than, but yeah, I was just trying to do the 7,000 for, the end of this month or before the end of December for the 80 ton, and then next year at some point we'll have to try to do the other 80.
You're good with that, right? Okay, do I have a motion to go ahead and purchase this salt? And basically, we use between 80 and 100 ton on average, is that not right?
We can go through 80 ton on a good winter.
Right. And last year was a little light, and that's why we're behind.
We got a little extra.
Yeah.
Well, that and under previous circumstances, we'll call it, we were light on salt. There were some chances where we could have used it a little more, and we either A, didn't use it, or B, used sand in place of salt. But,
Okay.
I mean, we can definitely use our salt, so.
Yeah. Okay, we have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Brad.
Who made the motion? I'm sorry.
I did.
Old business. And I'm just not even gonna try to pronounce Bob's last name. 'Cause I'm gonna
Jadell.
butcher it.
Jadell.
Jadell, see, I still butchered it. Was in last month. Kelly, you wanna go ahead and
I just collected some information out of the utility office, and I passed that all on to you in your packets.
Yep.
His leak, if you notice, his leak started in April of 2017, and it was fixed in April of 2019. Per our town ordinances, we usually allow one adjustment per calendar year, per connection, typically just per incident. If they have a leak, they get one adjustment for the whole leak, it's a one month. And his situation, I know it sounds kind of horrendous when you have a leak for 2 years, but that's not uncommon. We deal with that a lot in the utility office. I've given you 2 examples. One of them, the one of the account ending in 001, they had a leak in December of 2019, and it wasn't fixed till September of 2020. And then if you notice, we gave them one adjustment in October of 2020. When the leak was completely fixed, they got one adjustment. And then we also, another customer example that I gave you, ending in account number 002, they had a leak in December of 2017, and if you'll see that it's still ongoing, they know it, we've notified them, and they've chosen not to fix it. And so no adjustment has been given yet. But just to let you know that there are leaks that go on, like this, and, per ordinance, and it's always been our policy in the town ordinance, that they get one adjustment. And we do choose, we look at the span of the leak, and we take their month that had their highest bill, and we give them an adjustment off of that, so we do give them the maximum that they can. But just past just giving you history of what's normally done, and there are more examples of that. I've just given you two. I just feel like to be consistent, what we always do is give one adjustment on 1 month, and it would be the biggest bill.
Any discussion? Do I have a motion to approve the adjustment for McDonald's store?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Just for clarification, what was the adjustment for?
The adjustment would be for the highest bill one time. Okay, Commonwealth.
Sure. Good evening, I'm Brady Dryer. We've done that before. 5 minutes, you stuck the clock. I'm not gonna cover the engineering study this evening. We did discuss that in the last couple of executive sessions. I know those minutes were adopted just a little bit ago. But what I did wanna do is talk a little bit about the ADA compliance plan and transition plan and where we stand with that. First of all, I'm pleased to report that we have submitted a draft of that to NDOT on October 14th. So, thanks to a lot of the town's hard work early on, and some of Daniel's upfront work, the last year or so, we had a lot of that documentation we were able to roll into that. So, basically, right now, it's sitting at NDOT for review. We'll keep everybody posted on what their feedback is and any kind of additional needs we have. But basically, what I did on this sheet that I handed out is part of our scope of services and what we intended to include in that ADA transition plan. I included a list. So you can see a lot of these things have been covered, but just a couple of things that I know with the town, absent a town manager right now, some things to keep in mind that we're gonna need to do in the coming months. The ADA coordinator, that doesn't necessarily have to be the town manager, so the council maybe think about whether or not that's who you recommend, or if there's someone else within the town that could serve in that role, that's something that we need. A couple of policies, non-discrimination, ADA accessibility act was the evaluation part, and that's something that just at this point, we need to have a plan to NDOT that this is how we're gonna address it. So many streets, so many blocks within a year, and I think we can come up with something like that, but again, we need that point person kind of to oversee those operations. Prioritization for remedying the things we find, in other words, when you don't have the proper ramps and widths and things like that, we'll get that moving, you know, down the road. NDOT will be fine with that. We incorporated in that ADA transition plan design standards for sidewalks as well as accessibility. There's an acronym that I won't bore you guys with, but the other thing, public involvement. So that's perfect here this evening that we've got a full house, public meeting to discuss the ADA transition plan. So that is one of those things that we need to document to NDOT. So keeping the minutes and things like that we can add that as well. The other thing that I know was discussed in previous meetings is posting the ADA plan on the town's website. I wanna say you've got maybe your procedures or something already up there, but I know that you guys have heard a couple of quotes, I believe, that Daniel provided on a website administrator. So those are kind of the things that are basically just filling in the gaps, if you will, in the meantime, while it's under review at NDOT. And then once we hear back from them, we get the ADA coordinator established. We get a formal plan in terms of accessing or inventorying our sidewalks and all those things. Then that's when there'll come a point where the council will formally adopt it. In my opinion, we're not ready there. We're still under preliminary draft or draft review by NDOT. So that's the gist of the ADA transition plan. I don't know where you are on time, Greg, but I think that was close to 5.
4.5.
Close to good. Are there any questions?
Okay, basically, we don't need to do anything
Not
tonight.
right this, yeah, right.
We need to look for a coordinator or decide
Yes.
what coordinator. best.
And in the meantime, I don't know what, how readily the town can access or post things on the website. Those are things that we can do in the meantime to provide that to NDOT.
Okay,
That being developed.
Okay, good. Good to hear.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Brady, are you gonna talk about engineering study?
I was just gonna let that kind of lie for now. We can talk about a little of that. I know we covered that in the earlier meetings in October. But
Yeah, actually, it looks like probably January is gonna be better for us.
okay,
Kelly still hasn't been able to get with Janet,
okay, good,
and, but, we're still very interested.
good, good.
So,
Well, in the meantime, if any questions come up, let us know.
okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Tablets for the council members.
Well, that's what we were talking about a little while ago. We were just trying to determine if we wanna go with a window-based or an Apple. We're kinda thinking more with the window tablets. So we're gonna probably need to get in contact with our computer people, because we're gonna need to have them help us set them up so that all council members have what we need. So that's kind of in a preliminary right now, we're pricing out those.
I will remind you that Black Friday and Cyber Monday's coming up, so you might can get some deals.
Exactly,
If
yeah,
you're,
so we'll,
prepared by that time, that would be great.
I'm hoping.
Okay. And, wall removal.
I'm still collecting some quotes, I'm waiting for some quotes to come in, so I'll have that prepared for you for next meeting, we can table that for next time.
Okay. Town manager is still basically pending.
We need to figure out how we're gonna post it and where, and we're working, I think, with Daniel on that.
Yeah, I don't know, Daniel, it was posted for one day.
Right. Do we have any applicants at this point, official applicants?
He said that there was some applications there, but we would need to pay to access them the way that it was posted. And that's the only thing that's been done, is just one day, so.
How many applicants have we been able to look at that?
I haven't looked at any, I was told 6. But Daniel also suggested other ways of,
Yes, I think we're looking at the,
and I know Richard mentioned, some groups that we're members of that have, we possibly could post there, and as people in the industry go to those sites and look for things like that.
Okay. Sound system,
was it 3 or 4 now?
there's 3 by the same guy.
Well, yeah, and then 2 others, Kurt Hall and Brand Tech.
Yes, there's three different companies you have quotes for, and there's different, each company gave you different options, different quotes. Indie Sound, they gave us an audio only, they gave us a middle quote, which was basically all inclusive. That was, and that was wireless, and that was everything that we would need to run it. Basically, they'd come set it up and show us, it'd be pretty much the touch of a button, and everything would turn itself on and supposedly work. They guaranteed me it would be super easy. Then they do have their highest quote. I believe the difference is, that one is, includes lapel mics. That's the difference in price. The middle quote was tabletop mics, and the top of the line was for the lapel mics.
For the ISS?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the, 12,000, which would have been the middle.
Yeah, that's the all-inclusive,
Yeah,
like
right.
everything's set up. But that would be a tabletop microphone, but it would still be wireless, so you don't have to worry about wires. Brand Tech was the second company. Their first quote actually was for what their microphones were wired. And, he said what would happen is, because they would all be connected, so you have to, like, from the table where
They'd all be
Larry
daisy
are,
chained.
They'd
Yeah.
have to run around
Right.
and, do
Yeah,
that, and
a little
also.
high too, compared to
Yes.
ISS.
And neither one of his quotes even included, software or a tablet or laptop or anything for running the system. Yeah, and then there was another quote that was significantly less, but, his didn't have, there was no new speakers, no podium mic, there was no computer to run it or software or anything like that included in that one, so.
So basically, Indie Sound would be ready to run.
That's
Okay.
that's what I gathered from talking to everybody, yes.
It's just funny how I got a 40 channel, 16, 40.
I did have one question on the Indie Sound, that he's not here to answer, but it's something we might consider. On the audio only quote, he was gonna provide 4 speakers, and then when he went up to the next 2 quotes, he jumped to 6 speakers, and so I wasn't quite sure why there would be a jump in that. So that might be a little bit of a cost savings, I'm not sure, that was a question that,
Was his the only one that had speakers in the ceiling?
I don't remember. I think the brand has speakers in the ceiling as well. Let's see. Yes, ceiling speakers, the brand Tech also has speakers in the ceiling.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Well, do we wanna move on this? I mean, you know, like I said, leaning towards that 12.7 from ISS and sound,
Is that a motion?
so move.
Do I have a second?
Main thing is, we need to get, you know, where people that are listening on Facebook or what have you can hear us, they're not hearing us, and we just keep putting it off, so, like that when we first started a few months ago, we had quite a few people asking questions after the meeting online. Okay, you know, again, they're saying, we can't hear you, we can't hear you. So, I think it behoove us to, you know, at least move towards getting where everybody can hear us, online and in person.
Any discussion?
I'll second the motion.
I'm just trying to compare the 12,756 to the 14, what
Yeah.
the differences are, other than speakers. One was lapel wireless, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, is it the telephone? Yeah.
It's 12,000.
Right, 12,000 wired mics.
No, mics are gonna be wireless, I think.
Yes, Indie Sound, everything is wireless, just the
Okay.
12,000 one is a tabletop wireless, and the 14 is a lapel wireless.
How many tabletop mics was it? 8?
These are strictly sound systems, right?
I'm sorry?
Strictly sound systems.
The,
No, ISS has
yeah, the
the,
$12,000
video.
would be, there would be a wall mount camera, so we could no longer, so Dana wouldn't have to stand and hold his phone. We could live stream directly through the camera that would be mounted to the wall, so we're not relying on one person that, and the camera would also record, so we would have a recording of what we're doing.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Are we ready to take a vote?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
one will it come out of?
Well, we've been talking about doing that with the CARES money. And I know we got refunded for the CARES Act, and so that's where I was hoping that we would.
What was, business, deed there?
No, that's the wall removal.
Oh, okay,
I'm still waiting on quotes. right?
Yeah, she's still trying to get some more quotes.
all right.
Okay, EAS, the server and computer room, or computer system.
Yeah, I mostly just, I sent that to you in your packet, I just got that, their quote right before I sent out information to you guys, so I'm basically just presenting that to you guys to look at. I would suggest that we probably need an executive session to talk about this, and maybe have one of the EAS representatives come out, just because there are security issues involved, and so I think it's something that needs to be, considered and thought privately. But, I will tell you that, we've been in contact with Endeavor this week, going over our Endeavor bill for our phones and internet services, and we've been able to upgrade our service and save the town potentially between $160 and $250 a month on our service. And so my hope is that we can use that savings to pay for some of our contractual things with EAS, our computer systems, and hopefully wash, or at least, make that doable.
Less painful.
So,
Okay. Scott, Bayou. We have a proposal for sidewalk replacement that was not ADA approved. And, you want to go ahead and.
Well, it's, 7921 for the labor side of it, and then an additional maximum of 700 for an additional 10 mats. And then we're gonna cover the concrete cost.
And that will be
We don't know. But
roughly 20 yards of concrete.
Plus or minus a little bit.
And, this is also to do the,
clean up.
231 that, we actually approved last meeting that we had to do, but apparently we didn't give it to a contractor. And, he will also do the cleanup. He's looked down Lafayette Street, and there's some other cleanup that needs to be done as far as some low spots and what have you. In his findings with the state of Indiana, ADA approved, he's gonna have to cut down the 1 yard quite a bit and remove dirt from there.
So we're at about 8621. Correct?
That's without concrete.
Without concrete.
I think so.
And that's maximum, because the mats he may be able to salvage some of the mats, and he's given us the maximum cost.
Leading to the alleys.
Yes.
May not need them, yeah.
Well, they're not absolutely needed, but they are appreciated, I guess, is.
How she worded it to me is they'd love to see ADA mats at the alleyways,
Okay.
but it's not a must. It's kind of your preference, but for the price of a mat, I'm not charging anything to install them.
We're just
So
paying
I'd
for
go
the
ahead
mat.
and just put them in there, that way they can look at it and go, they can use Cloverdale as an example, this is what we like, I'd love to see.
Yeah.
That way we don't have any more issues with them in the future.
Come on, Hollywood.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve this bid?
Move.
Okay. One other thing I'd like to throw in there is the contractor that originally done that, Wayne was supposed to oversee him.
Yeah.
He wasn't for sure what over the phone, and this is to replace that concrete.
Right.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And is there anything else? Any questions? Any answers? I'm looking at you, Dan.
I kinda enjoy watching her run that camera.
Okay, if there isn't anything else, we'll call this meeting adjourned.